How many times have you asked yourself if you are playing the part the cosmos and the Almighty have assigned? Let me begin with a remark that directly speaks to your soul. Albeit invisible, the currents attaching you to you are not indestructible. Leader of the channel. The Spiritual Secret. Gabriel here today will discuss a key idea for your spiritual development. This message is not accidental. It brought you here because a great truth only waiting to be unveiled to you. This film is just for those, like you, who have unrest in their souls and bear a strong spiritual calling. It is not for everyone. Your awakening is hidden behind layers of illusions and errors meant to keep you asleep. This material you publish holds the secret to your waking. Ignoring this message would be a spiritual mistake of enormous proportions, a renouncement of revelation given straight to guide you. And now, I would want you to consider, how often hath this spiritual restlessness emerged in you? Comment with your experiences. Like this video, if this message speaks to your soul as a divine summons. Prepare, as we are just getting started. What is to follow will set off a landslide of change in your perspective of the surroundings and within yourself. Let us reveal jointly the shadows that insist on obscuring the light that resides within. Then the truth might be the starting point of the enormous transformation you, as decided, want. Something kept hidden only because it has the ability to release the actual chosen is something the common eyes cannot see. This disclosure reveals the presence of unseen powers motivated to cancel the potential of outstanding people like you. Few people have the fortitude to confront the truth based in the spiritual depth of life. It is not a theory or a fantasy. Let yourself wonder now. How many lives seems to be very difficult to live without an obvious reason? Invisible to the human sight, this phenomena is the silent curse put on you, meant to be erased even before your star blazes. In the life of a selected, this truth shows itself as relentless cycles of suffering and difficulty, ostensibly derived from nothing. Imagine your life as a garden gifted by God, always under danger from shadows of vermin. This is how these energies strive to destroy their essence for all uses. They show up as unexpected discouragement, drained connections, the constant sensation of non-belonging. Still, you are not alone yourself. These emotions, these encounters, have resonated in your spirit, right? Like a passing storm, leaving traces of metamorphosis where he touches. Recall the times when she appeared to hear her own spirit screaming out for emancipation and felt the need of surpassing the constraints placed mysteriously. For this is the voice pointing the selected to the light, indicating its link to the unknown. The pivot for its release is knowledge of this fact. Being oblivious of this discovery means postponing its spiritual development, caught in a loop feeding misery and preserving its shackled nature. But this is the gateway to see beyond illusion, a heavenly invitation to drastically change your reality. But do not let this essential view to erode without intervention. Think on the relationships that shatter your soul and see them disintegrating as you go, lighter and more resolved, toward the always correct destiny. Stay with me. In the following phase, we will start to untangle the way this unseen plan was destroyed, therefore enabling a new age of emancipation and power to arrive. Here is the transforming moment. Are you ready to welcome it? See your spiritual road as a river, starting to run long before your first conscious waking. Stones and other objects that, at first looked insurmountable, had blocked this river. Now, when you stroll down the banks of your narrative, I show you that every difficulty, every suffering, has been deliberately placed to dull your creamage. However, there is a deeper element to take into account. The river, along with its experiences, should know how to go over the obstacles, as it cannot stop. It is propelled forward. Afterwards, see these challenges as chances to release their inner potential. When the storm of uncertainty tormented its peace, did you ever consider whether the windstorms life brought had some secret meaning? This issue appeals not just as a reflection, but also as a call to awakening, which turns theory into action and practice into knowledge. For you, selected, the path is like a sword blade fashioned in the furnace of trials, coming sharp and ready for war. The big spiritual tree drinks from the dark abyss, grows solidly before the trunk, and leaves are wonderfully expelled to the sun. Its roots do not see the light. The Holy Book describes man as a living temple, the structure whose foundation has to be robust to sustain the sky and the winds of hardship. And when their difficulties arise, it is as if the Lord orders the storm to settle down, therefore proving his ability to warm any enraged sea. Choosing to block your eyes to this fact, therefore, is to commit oneself to incarceration in a cycle of darkness and stagnation, that of a puppet whose strings are tugged by unseen hands. Those who brave to face destiny and accept what they are meant to be discover a daily miracle: tranquility that cuts beyond all knowledge, happiness free from context. Seeing the depth of the soul itself starts the awakening. This insight offers not a path of roses, but rather a knowledge that real beauty grows amid thorns. Ask yourself, are you ready to carry on the weight and responsibility of this path? For the choice between living in a false prison or embracing the freedom of truth lies the core of this puzzle. This is the time when introspection settles roots and the decisions of the past show themselves, and insight starts to wave with transforming power. At this time, one not only has vision, but also bravery to follow its truth. If this fact connects with its core, keep with us, because the following phase will investigate the processes releasing its latent potential. I question, in front of the vista of possibilities, are you willing to develop with every step? The selected one is invited to go into the deepest depths of life, where actual change occurs inside the fabric of spiritual life, beyond the appearances. The road of the selected calls for anchoring in practices and ideas that go beyond appearances, much as a tree feeds from the ground before sky. Those who reject this reality first lose sight of the subtle but strong effect each thought and action has over destiny. Like a river whose course is set by the bed, intentional choices and challenges form the chains of events. Then, ask yourself, how many times did you allow uncertainty or fear guide you? Life offers more than what initial view lets us see. Awakening to this truth alters the path of little everyday decisions and generates their own destiny as deliberate and holy. Let's consider Peter's narrative upon his summons to walk across the waves. His unwavering confidence first let the impossible. Then, he gave in to fear, and the waves threatened to consume him. Many start their path with a sight of the truth, but soon they are lost in the waves of uncertainties and diversions. The spiritual path starts with such a clear moment and requires constant trust and confidence growth to oppose the temptations of retreat. Remaining spiritually blind and deaf results in scorching consequences within the same furnace of uncertainty without using the changing power that divine right already owns. But the selected one enters states of calm and realizes that beyond the usual by embracing and merging this reality. we become more than we had ever imagined, much like the butterfly emerges from the cocoon. Think about your position on this road right now. Its inner light has the ability to lead others and oneself to fresh vistas, just like the lighthouse in the dense fog would do. Keep tending this light as every safe step gets it closer, not just to your personal awakening, but also becomes a spark of transformation in the surroundings. As we highlight the way each action interacts in the fabric of our spiritual development, may this thorough meditation serve as the anchor of your practice. When the past summons evokes with all your might, can you resist? Are you sure of grasping its essence in every little bit of its existence? This is getting ready for the systems meant to elevate everything you are supposed to be. Let us now descend farther to transform this first spark into an almost unquenchable fire and personal strength. Within the expanse of the spiritual road, there are natural processes that support the selected one on their road of illumination. These procedures seek to cleanse, strengthen, and elevate the soul, thereby bringing it into line with its divine mission. This process starts with awareness. Nothing changes without first being noticed. At this point, the selected one's mind starts to awaken to the unseen truth that has always been there, calling for awareness and judgment. Every fresh view highlights the shadows that held him imprisoned, just as a blind man gradually gains eyesight. The second stage is acceptance, in which the spirit is urged to live with the awkward facts that started to show and embrace both its possibilities and constraints. At this time, belief in the divine process has to take front stage as faith is under examination. Acceptance is like the farmer who knows the condition of the soil before planting. Without it, real change cannot start. At last, we get at transforming action, in which knowledge and acceptance mix to produce actual changes in body and soul. Here, the metamorphosis is evident in every thread of life, in daily choices, in the serenity of the mind and the might of the heart. It is the phase in which the metaphor of gold becomes clear. The selected is refined, eliminating impurities and showing its actual brilliant nature, like the valuable metal that is sparkling only after resisting the fire through the great heat of trials. Regarding Moses leading his people to freedom, yet there are deserts to travel that test the chosen to maintain his faith sharp in the face of hardship. Difficulties are invitations to development rather than a possibility for disengagement. Remember what occurred when David confronted Goliath with respect and resolve, when helplessness envelops you and doubts persist on attempting to cover your light. History shows us that the power of the Spirit is exactly seen in the hardships. Ignoring these divine procedures, stagnation settles like a lake without flow, where lack of rejuvenation suppresses life for those who do not put themselves on this path. Do not let the cycle of spiritual development show itself to obstruct the actual success and prolong the empty sensation. Now is the moment to act, to burst the cocoon from inertia before time runs between the grains of your existence. Every cycle that finishes creates the urgency of a fresh start. Selected, the message is rather clear. Your soul longs for progress and independence. Understanding and doing these transforming actions will help you to wake to a fresh, self-conscious you. What then will you decide to do with your just gained knowledge? Stay with me as we explore, because we will have the confluence of these ideas in practical activities. The moment to blossom is right now. Beyond the first margin of awareness, we now enter the core of the systems, guiding the selection of the one to be transformed. These forces are not just ideas, rather, They are the basic wheels that have guided prophets and visionaries throughout centuries. This is the detailed step-by-step development of this spiritual transformation. The inward waking comes first. By now, the chosen one starts to separate the voices of the ego from those of the spirit. Imagine the first morning beam dispersing the blackness of the night. It is a process of very conscious awareness of cycle criteria and limiting ideas that keep one imprisoned. This awareness starts a reorganization of the mind in which creative potential replaces doubt and uncertainty with aim and goal. Thinking flows more precisely. The purification and release stage comes next. Here, invisible shackles should be broken. This phase removes emotional and spiritual impurities by means of the fire of self-knowledge and acceptance, hence, refining gold. Key at this point are learning to forgive and submit to compassion, therefore clearing the path for unqualified love to replace resistance. Imagine a snake whose skin changes to enable development and metamorphosis. At last, we get at the birth of the actual self. Here, the selected one receives his divine essence, reincarnated as the most exact manifestation of his natural ability. This stage represents the whole reconciliation between the top and the inferior within oneself, therefore producing a life of authenticity and complete integration, much as the phoenix rises from the ashes. This is the phase in which body, mind, and spirit line together to show the divine design in every deed and thought. Still, this road has major obstacles, problems that show themselves as later questions on their own worth and goal. But let us recall the story of the prodigal son, who, after losing himself, found his way back to his father full of regrets, but redeemed by the knowledge of his actual location. It reminds us that restoration to essence is always possible. Ignoring these systems is like constructing a home on sand. Eventually, the weak foundations will be carried by the tides of time. The real want for waking has to be stronger than the uncertainty. The major indicator of success is its will to pursue every step to the end. Refusing the call helps to prolong the cycle of agony and withdrawal. Consequently, the implementation of this information is pressing and a call to quick response. Are you prepared to call forth these powers in your own life right now? Let every level of this road to unleash the whole spectrum of its spiritual capability. Here and now, the golden chance calls everyone selected to claim their birth as a live, present force of the divine. Come along to entwine our efforts toward the destiny that awaits us, as right now is the moment of your ascension. In the sphere of spiritual life, picture two selected walkers on separate paths. The first, a wise man listening to the desert call, embraced his natural nature and followed this light on its course. This selected learned that his terrible events were a trampoline to increase his knowledge, not a punishment. Their emotions calmed down, even before the storms. Every stride is strong. His spiritual life develops, and his connections become holy alliances that enhance his mission and serve divine destiny as a beacon guiding so many others. Across the fork, a second selected pauses. Ignoring the signals, he decided to follow the comfort of a life constrained by the shadows of uncertainty and dread, therefore resisting what the soul muttered. Though at first impression secure, this road is characterized by an endless inner conflict. Rather than tranquility, he is always restless. Reissues become weights. The aim is lost in the mist of uncertainty. See the path of Jonas, who sought to flee his calling only to find himself in the storm, endangering his own life. To show these differences with a common tale. His fear originally drove him away from purpose, but it was his atonement and acceptance of the task meant that at last, harmony and alignment were achieved. Like Jonas, the road of resistance separates us, and the acceptance heals us. So, you, selected. Which of these routes do you find today? Your sole obligation is to decide whether to accept or oppose. Yet, the consequences of your decision reflect in all spheres of life. True essence demands for release and fulfillment at every junction of destiny. Think carefully. Wisdom is found in realizing that decisions taken from the heart determine not only our present gift, but also follow the grooves of the rich soil where their future will sprout. As we embrace what was assigned, we invite the cosmos to be entire, complete. Therefore, the issue remains. Will you stay in the dissonance that promotes the growth of the universe, or will you conform with its harmony? Feel the urgency of this metamorphosis as we approach the next revelation, as the time of self-realization now is here. We see two selected strolling on routes that, despite first appearing to be identical, lead to rather different places. First, choosing the path of acceptance, accepted its divine nature. As a fisherman who, in the middle of the storm, discovers the ideal pace to deploy his network, he lines his activities with the unseen tide of the world, confidently and deliberately sailing over the river of life. His doubts and emotions calm him, so he may produce a harmonic symphony between his inner self and the planet. Reflecting his clarity and honesty, his connections grow and deepen. His spiritual quest unfolds like an old scroll, exposing long-lost mysteries. The second selected, meanwhile, stays on the road of resistance, battling the call of his soul. This surrounds an inner flame with layers of denial and anxiety, even if it brings with it an inner flame. It finds a relentless breakdown of uncertainty and unhappiness rather than mobility. Their relationships turn into battlefields where past hurts resurface quicker than they can be healed, generating conflict instead of harmony. Denying his reality, he sees himself caught in the samsara, constantly spun wheel, an unending cycle of mistakes, devoid of meaningful growth. Think of Jacob's path, which battled all night and then revealed Israel as a changed man to show this duality. Like Jacob, the first selected struggles in the internal conflict and stays strong until a blessing results from the war. The second, however, does not understand that his battle is really the required crossover for his own transformation. Selected, in view of this reflection, which of these two paths I find today? This introspection not only helps you to realign yourself with what you want to create, but also places you. Adopting this reality is a courageous act, a choice that shows itself in the fabric of life. Remember this as evidence of the influence of your decision. Every one of them may change the path of your life. Accepting this reality decides to grow where he has planted himself and welcomes every obstacle as a means of spiritual development. Stay focused on the following actions, as this discovery is an opening to new roads that will need for your constant dedication rather than a breakthrough. With your present knowledge, what will you do? This is the query that calls back in your soul, waiting for the response that will define your path somewhat less grandly. Selected, what we travel with should not be a far-off echo in your thoughts, but rather a live force enhancing every cell of your existence. The change you are looking for calls for deliberate and courageous behavior. It cannot happen only in the realm of the concept. Those who let knowledge slumber within themselves without action remain slaves to the currents of unquittable destiny. Only those who allow themselves to stroll boldly unlock the doors of real illumination. I now provide 3 spiritual techniques you might start doing right now to balance your energy and deepen your relationship to the divine. First, the morning meditation settles in a calm state even before sunlight enters its domain. Close your eyes and see a golden light down to your feet and around your head. Concentrate on your breathing and repeat the intention. I am a channel of light and truth. This daily practice will help you to match your ideas with cosmic energies, therefore enabling mental clarity and calm. Then, the gratitude diary. Get a notebook just for this and write the sun setting itself. Write 3 things you are very thankful for after a day of difficulty and insight. By reminding the soul of the gifts all around it, this exercise will be like the oasis in the midst of the desert, nurtures it, and increases the vibrational frequency by asking others to participate. At last, the meeting with nature. Once a week, choose an outdoor area where the surroundings mostly include nature. Barefoot, you can sense the ground beneath your feet. Silence your ideas and permit nature to mirror your inner equilibrium. Such a link brings healing and rejuvenation, therefore restoring the peace between you and the land. Reserve times of contemplation before bed as a spiritual challenge for the following 24 hours. What do I need to abandon to become my highest version? Ask yourself. Let the answers emerge from the bottom of your heart, free from judgment. This self-analysis will help you develop awareness and provide unambiguous signals about your path forward. Recall that internal resistance is really normal. Used to what you already know, the mind might drive you back into family territory. If you experience this soreness, however, it is a sign of progress. If not, it is just natural. The required journey for the real awakening is crossing this gate of suffering. It is time to honor the metamorphosis. I therefore chose the words that speak to your soul. What you do with this truth will define your journey from now on. The call was made. You will answer. Lighting is founded on action. Decide to start right now and let your actual light to shine brilliantly. The earth is ready for its glory. Selected, in closing this phase of our path, it is important to bear in mind the foundations of the truth we use together. The reality of hidden forces aiming to turn your light off, and the assurance that by recognition and action, you place yourself on the route to your actual greatness. Though a bridge for fresh discoveries and surprises waiting for you, this is not a finish line. We have stopped now to consider. Knowing the weight and force of your truth, what actions will you do to help to define your future? Now that you know the truth, what will you do to it? Asks, now that you know the truth, what will you do to shape all your mornings? Your spiritual development will be laid on this option. Write in the comments, I accept my call. If this message really spoke to you and touched your soul. This phrase is a spiritual compact, signed to the divine and its own unveiled potential, not just a superficial gesture. May God enlighten your steps, strengthen your soul, and open your eyes to the hidden truths, says our little prayer, which lets us connect in the limitless light of the Creator. Following the road meant for you should help you to discover clarity, strength, and direction. Thank you. And now that you understand your purpose, there is something even deeper that needs to be revealed. Remember, this is only a part of your journey continuum. Together, we will dig another truth of great magnitude. Preparing for an even deeper transformation is vital. Keep strong, remain looking. You are never alone. Every voice that joins the road strengthens this community of chosen. Subscribe to the channel and enable alerts to make sure you do not miss any vital step of this road full of light and knowledge. See you soon, and may serenity be with you always. Know that as you travel, you will never be without the divines or those of others who walk with you on this enlightened road. May your strength develop and your light shine, brilliantly chosen.